What's up guys, my name is Matthew and today I'm going to be filming my November wrap up. So for the month of November, I read a total of 10 books. It was a fairly good reading month for me. I had 2 5-star books, 3 4-star books, 3 3-star books, 1 2-star book, and then 1 DNF. One of my friends texted me, I think yesterday, and she said, does DNF mean don't fucking read? Kind of. So yeah, so from now on, when I say DNF, it means don't fucking read. No, I'm just kidding. It means what does it mean? It means did not finish. So when I say DNF, for like my friends who watch my videos just to make fun of me, it means did not finish. An ARC means advanced reader copy. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to talk about is Beach Read. I'm also like really freaking sick. You can't tell from my voice. I hope I don't have COVID, so I'm staying home this week because I don't want to get anybody sick, but I feel like shit. I don't feel good. So it might just be sinuses, so I'm kind of taking all my DayQuil and NyQuil and Allegra D to get me through it, and hopefully it's not COVID. Anyway, the first book I read this month is Beach Read by Emily Henry, and if you watched any of my videos, you know that Emily Henry is my new favorite romance author, and I know she's super popular, and I know everyone has read these books, but in my opinion, she is worth the hype. This book is about a guy named Gus and a girl named January who are both writers, and they are both kind of in a slump, like a reading slump, not a reading slump, a writer's block slump. Is that what you call it? I think so. I don't know. But when you don't, you can't write any more books. She writes romance books and he writes thriller books, I believe. And they are at this beach in, I think, Michigan. That doesn't make sense. A beach in Michigan, but I'm pretty sure they are. They're at a beach in Michigan, and another thing, I'm wearing a coat because I put on my heater today and I set off all the fire alarms and I was really embarrassed. So now I'm just going to die of frostbite in my apartment because I'd rather die than inconvenience people. Anyway, so this book was super cute. It is about January and Gus, and they are swapping genres. So he's decided that he is going to write romance and she is going to write thriller, and they go on these little field trips to show each other and give them ideas. And like I've said before, what I like about Emily Henry's writing is she takes such a silly, basic topic and then throws you in with these like complex characters, deep characters, and makes you just really, really, really involved. And Gus is a straight dude, and this is probably the first straight guy I've read in a book that I really related to. I related to Gus so much. And yeah, I mean, I read a lot of books about gay people, and obviously I relate to some of them, but this is the first time in a long time where I've related to like a straight dude in a book. And I just thoroughly love this book. It gave me all the feels, and if you know me, I'm really picky with my romance books. Oh my God, Siri's listening to me. Y'all, okay, I have multiple times been talking shit about someone, and that Siri goes and calls them. Like, stop. I feel like she's trying to sabotage me. Anyway, yes, first 5-star book, loved it. If you haven't read it, I'm sure most of you have, but it's worth the hype. It was an April 2020 book of the month. So this video is really informal. Not that my other videos are formal, but I'm just kind of like, whatever, I don't care. I just took some DayQuil, so I'm a little loopy. The Heart's Invisible Furies is my second 5-star book, and I know you're all tired of me giving this book all the praise. Book of the year for book of the month in 2017. This is about a gay guy named Cyril who was born in Ireland in 1945, and we follow his whole life. And this is probably the most beautiful book I've ever read. I did a reading vlog on it. I've talked about this in every video I've posted since I read this book. Please read this book. It made me cry. It's beautiful. Am I not selling it to you? Like, trust me, I don't cry. This book made me cry. Read this book. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just following this dude's life, and like, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm probably gonna reread it. And spoiler alert for my best books of the year, this is gonna win best literary fiction. So I've spoiled my whole video. I shouldn't even do that video now because in all my other videos, I tell you what's gonna win, but whatever. Okay, so the first 4-star book I read this month was Too Good to Be True by Carola Lovering. It's a cute last name, Lovering. This was a March 2021 book of the month that I finally got through. And I just had to read the description because I have no idea what's a spoiler and what you're supposed to know going in. And I didn't know much going into this book, so I think that's kind of how it should be. But I'll give you a little blurb so you know what it's about. It's about this girl named Sky, and she meets this guy named Burke, who's a lot older than her, and she decides to start dating him. but it turns out that Burke is already married and he's using her for his own deceptive gains, making sure that this is what you should know. And then there's other perspectives from a girl named Heather from the past. And yeah, so this is like a psychological thriller, I guess I would classify it as. It was a good time. I had a good time. I was never bored. It wasn't 5-star because, I mean, I wasn't like, oh my God, this is a new life-changing book, but it was a fun book and I definitely recommend it. Don't like, just, that's all you need to know. Go in with this book not knowing, you know, what to expect. I do feel like I've guessed some of the plot twists, but not all of them. Some things did shock me and there were quite a few twists in this book, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you haven't read it, I feel like a lot of people probably picked this up for their book of the month because it sounds good. And I bet you a lot of you haven't read it yet and it's sitting on your shelf. So I definitely pick this one up because I really enjoyed it. All right, so my next 4-star book of the month was Tell Me How You Really Feel. And this was in my more queer reading blog. I don't know, the vlog I just posted where I read books about LGBTQ people. But this book was very cute. This was one of my first female romances I've ever read, and it was a good one. It's young adult too, and you guys know that I'm not a really big fan of young adult, but this is about a girl named Santa and Rachel, and they are in high school. One of them is trying to become a doctor. She doesn't know if she wants to take like a gap year before going to college. One of them is trying to get into NYU, and they hate each other because Rachel thinks that Santa was bullying her because Rachel's the popular cheerleader. And they're forced to do a school project together. This is why I didn't give this book 5 stars. I found the plot device where they were required to work on a project together a little silly, and I didn't really buy it, but it was still very, very cute. I loved their relationship. I loved watching Rachel let her guard down in this book because she was so angry throughout this whole book, but it was so nice. It was very cute and if you're looking for like a female romance book, I would definitely pick this one up. This is the one everyone recommended me and I really enjoyed it. So I definitely recommend this, and I will probably be reading more by Amini Safi. But what else can I say about this book? Yeah, it was easy to read. It's like, I read it like in a couple days. It was a very, very fast read and very realistic to what I think, from what I remember, what high school was like. So, all right, so the next 4-star book I read this month was The Plot. I read this one on my Kindle and I listened to a little bit of it on audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. It is about a guy named Jacob who had a very successful first book. He was an author and he struggled producing books after that, and he started teaching at this MFA program where he would train young aspiring authors, you know, how to write and do like writing classes. And he meets this guy named Evan Parker. Yes, that's his name, Evan Parker, who they were doing like office hours, and Evan Parker told him the plot to this story that he's writing, and he just told him the plot. And then Evan Parker dies, and we realize from Jacob that, oh wait, that means the plot to this book never got written. And Jacob decides to write the plot to this book. Okay, this is my opinion. When I went into this book, I read the synopsis, so I made sure I wasn't spoiling anything. I thought that this teacher, Jacob, like found Evan Parker's completed manuscript and just like plopped his name on it. And that's not what happened. Literally, the kid died, and he had just told him like the basic premise of his idea of a book. And then Jacob was like, oh, well, I mean, he's dead. He's not gonna write now. And then Jacob wrote the whole book. So like, okay, plagiarism, I guess, but Jacob still had to write the whole book. Like, I can sit here and give you a plot to a book, but I feel like it takes a lot more to actually write the book. So I was kind of under the impression, I'm like, I mean, yeah, you stole an idea, but you sat there and wrote the whole book. So I didn't really agree. That thinking like, oh my God, I can't believe you stole this. But anyway, he starts getting like letters like, oh, I know what you did. You stole someone else's idea. And we're trying to figure out like why, like what's going on, who's writing him these letters. And I will say, I loved the ending to this book. I can't tell you why, because it will be a spoiler, but if you read this book and you know how it ends, those are the kind of endings I like. Those endings. The endings where you're like, huh, wow, that's where the author went with that. I loved it. I don't agree that it was plagiarism because the kid never wrote the book. He just said, oh, this is my idea for a book. So it was so stupid. But I had a good time. I read it fast, and I really recommend it. It was pretty thrilling. I did know what was going on, you know, the big twist. I knew what was going on, but I still really, really enjoyed it. And I think it's worth the hype. I know some people are saying they loved it and some people are saying they didn't. I'm on the side that I loved it. I thought it was a really good book. 4 stars, pretty predictable in my opinion, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. All right, my first 3-star book is called 3 Hours, and this is about a school shooting in the UK, I believe. And okay, I have mixed feelings about this book. I was very enthralled, very invested in it. I had difficulty getting used to the writing style. I don't know why, but I felt like my mind kept wandering at first and I really had to focus. There was something about the writing style that I didn't connect with at first. Also, I wish there was a map of the school. Like, I literally had to draw out my own map of like, oh, here's the old school, here's the new school, here's the little kids school, here's the pottery room, and how they were all connected. Because it's important because, I mean, there's a school shooter and they're in different parts of the school. So my brain was like, I don't understand how these buildings connect. Like, I needed a map. So I wish the author would have just, you know how like authors sometimes put a little map or like a, you know, like a drawing of something in like on the first page. I think that would have been helpful. Also, that ending was so stupid and so unrealistic. Like, yay, happy, but if you read this book or if you've read this book and you get to the ending and you realize what happens, if you don't roll your eyes, like, this would never happen. Never in a million years happen. Okay, I'm done. It was so stupid. Like, oh, I literally was reading it, I go, are you fucking serious? Sorry, I'm trying not to curse as much on my channel, but that deserved a curse. It was silly. Like, this would, like, anyway. It was good. I was on the edge of my seat. There was actually a freaking school shooting today in the United States in Michigan. Like, obviously there's a problem, but we're not gonna talk about that. But there's just something about like active shooters that just absolutely terrifies me. I'm sure that's probably a common fear among most humans, most rational humans, but like, I can't even go to the movie theater because I'm so terrified. I don't like being trapped. I don't like being trapped places. And if I go to the movie theater, I have to sit on the end. Anyway, I digress. But this book was about a school shooter. It had a good message, great message. I enjoyed the plot. It was very fast-paced. As for twists, I kind of knew what was happening, and I don't think there was any big old twist that you would consider in a thriller, especially if you're someone who reads thrillers often. I actually have read a book about a school shooter that was done so much better than this. I cannot tell you what the title of that book is because it will spoil the book for you, because you don't know that the book is about a school shooter. And that's why it was so, you're like, what are you talking about? I will try in the next coming videos, sneak in this book to convince you to read it sneakily so that you aren't spoiled. But there's a book out there about a school shooter and you don't know it's about a school shooter. And I thought it was just so much more well done than this book because I thought this book was a little silly. But I think how it ended was a little silly. Obviously, the school shooting part was not silly. It was very serious. But yeah, I enjoyed it. If you're looking for a tense ride and you're okay with a little bit of a silly ending, then I would definitely give 3 Hours a chance. Also, I know the ending was a metaphor. I don't care. It was still stupid. All right, my next book is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but whatever, I don't care. I read my second Kristen Hanna book, The 4 Winds, and I only got 3 stars. Kristen Hanna is a fantastic writer. Everyone knows that. She writes beautiful books. Her writing style is gorgeous. It is worth the hype as a writer. I just did not connect with this book like I did with The Nightingale, which is the other book I read by Kristen Hanna. This book was set in Texas during the Depression, and it was a very depressing book, but not in the same way as The Nightingale, which was about World War II and, Nazis. That's obviously depressing too. This book, I was depressed, but I also did not care. Does that make sense? Does that make me evil? Maybe. But it just, I don't know. It's about this mom named Elsa, and she's trying to take care of her 2 kids during the Depression, and they have no money, and just like the stuff she had to do to take care of her family. It's really sad, and it was really just heartbreaking. But it's a 450-page book, and I just remember towards the end, I was just like, okay, I get it. Your life sucks. I'm a terrible person. Okay, no, but it just, I don't know. I didn't connect with the characters like I did in The Nightingale. This one, Book of the Year for Book of the Month. I'm sure it's going to win the Goodreads Book of the Year. So I'm in the minority. Take it for what it's worth. I don't think this is the best Kristen Hanna book. I don't. I thought it was kind of boring, and I thought it was sad, but sad with no redeeming qualities. I mean, the ending was cute and very like, oh, full circle, you know, but other than that, I was unimpressed. I am not hopping on the bandwagon for this book. Sorry, don't hate me. If you've been following along with my videos, you know I have been making my way through the Off-Campus series on audiobook, and they are my guilty pleasure. They are what I call trashy romance novels. They are about these 4 roommates who are hockey players, and each book is set from one of the roommates' perspectives, and you get to learn about that roommate and his love interest. I just read and finished the 4th one, and The Goal. I gave it 3 stars. It was definitely my least favorite. I can't tell you too much about this one, and I don't think you need to know much more than what I just told you, because there's a huge spoiler that you learn at the end of book 3, Dean's story, and book 4 is about Tucker's story, and I can't talk about Tucker's story without, you know, spoiling a huge part of the plot. If you're in a reading slump, I highly recommend you pick up the Off-Campus series because they're so easy to read. They are steamy. Like, I'll be like walking to work and being like the narrator's like being nasty in my ear, and I'm just like, good morning, how are you? Like, put the volume down. Like, they're that steamy. I'll be at work and on my computer, like doing mindless stuff, and I have like my AirPod in. People come to my office, I'm like, hi, how are you? Like, but they're very good books if you're just looking for some escapist, cutesy romance. I think the first one's the best. They actually just came out with a 5th book, but it's like in the future, and you get to see all the roommates and their significant others and how they grew up. I'm gonna hold off on reading that because I think I'm a little like done with this. Like, I feel like I did it too fast. I read this series too fast. I'm kind of bored with it. I need a break. I think I'm gonna give myself a few months before I jump back into this world. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's if you just need some like cutesy romance with some hot sex, pick up the Off-Campus series because it delivers. And I'm shocked that Netflix has not picked this up. Like, Netflix could make easy 4 movies or like a little TV show. Do you guys, like, if you're an active reader, do you constantly like pick up books or series and you're like, wait, this would be a great Netflix movie? Because that's what I do. Like, what? Talk about an awesome job. I actually follow someone on Instagram who that's their job. Like, they read books and they like get them turned into Netflix movies. I digress. I tend to do that a lot. Okay, so that was my 3rd star book. The book I gave 3 stars to. I gave all the other ones 4 stars, and the first one I gave 5 stars. I think the first one was the best because you're first getting introduced into the world. Okay, I have a very unpopular opinion. Don't hate me, don't come at me, but I read Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe finally, and I really didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. I don't see the hype. I did not relate to the characters. These are about 2 high school students set in the 1980s, and their love story. There were cute parts, but for the most part, I just found it very boring, and I felt they were super immature, and they didn't read like high school students. I felt like this book read like real high school students. This book, I felt like they were 11, and I just did not relate to the characters. I feel bad because that's like so many people's favorite book of all time. I thoroughly did not enjoy it. I was like, am I reading the right book? Did I pick up the right book? Maybe I picked up the wrong book. But don't let me discourage you because everybody else freaking loves this book. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Something wrong with me, but I did not enjoy that book at all. And then finally, my DNF, my don't fucking read. Just kidding. Also, sorry for cursing if I offend you. I have a potty mouth. And this was Leanne Miordi's Apples Never Fall. Like, are people liking this? I really haven't looked up to see what people are saying on BookTube yet, but I thought this book was so boring. I got like 150 pages in, and I finally just said, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care where the missing mommy went. It also read very almost comical, and I don't think it was intentional. Like, these 4 siblings are like, haha, mommy's disappearing, and everyone's gonna think it's daddy. Oh well, haha. What's everybody doing? What y'all doing? You wanna hang out? And it's like, what? Like, your mom's disappeared and y'all don't really seem to care. And you wanna know how I was not invested in this book at all? I didn't even Google the ending. Usually if I DNF a thriller, I'll at least look up the ending and just be like, oh, okay. This, I didn't look up the ending. I don't know what happened to mom. Don't care. Mom could be dead. Mom could be doing whatever the hell she wants. Don't care. DNF. That is all the books I read this month. It was a pretty good reading month. I am not going to do a TBR for December because I didn't do a TBR for November and I kind of liked it. I don't want any pressure. But I do have some books that I do plan on reading. A Flicker in the Dark, and definitely The Love Hypothesis, and that book of the month, the Apothecary, whatever. Those are 3 I definitely want to read. But other than that, I think those are all I'm only forcing myself to read. my NyQuil or DayQuil, whatever the hell I took, is kicking in, so I might need to go to sleep now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you agree or disagree. I'm sure you're all going to disagree regarding Aristotle and Dante, but come at me, I don't care. And I will see you guys in another video soon.